the evolving role of fatherhood. This is the topic of today's coaching session, video session. And the role is always evolving as time goes on, but there are core principles that will withstand the test of time. And these things that we're going to delve into in today's video. Let's look at the father as being the protector. There's three areas that I want to discuss, and those are physical safety, emotional safety, and moral guidance. Let's break things down. Let's start off with the physical safety. As a father, it's up to us to facilitate an environment for our child where they can have fun, where they can play safely, where they can explore and learn things and understand things, grasp things, and have concepts of how things work and operate and understand. And the way to do that is by facilitating a safe place where they can play without harming themselves, or harm is at its most minimal, because it's inevitable at some stage a child will get hurt, but it's up to us as protectors to minimize the dangers. Yeah. Okay, so the next thing I want to look at is the emotional security. As a father, as a protector, we have to ensure that our child feels emotionally safe around us. Now, what does that mean? When they're concerned, when they have troubles and issues that they want to come and talk to you about, do they feel safe enough? Do you give them emotional encouragement? Do you give them warmth, and do you embrace them? Or do you make them feel like, uh-oh, my dad's gonna shout at me, uh-oh, I don't feel safe enough to turn to my dad? Are you a deterrent? Do you get angry? Do you get upset quickly? Do you react? So as a protector, we have to give our child a sense of security in terms of they can turn to us, they can talk to us. We will not react. We will not make judgment. We will give them a lending ear by listening. We'll try to sympathize and empathize, and we'll help them. And this is what emotional security is all about, that they can turn to you and they feel safe enough, because when they turn to you, you will give them the best guidance that you can to support, to enhance, and to encourage them for growth. This is our responsibility. Then the next thing down the list is moral guidance. What does that look like? So this is where your connection with your Lord, the Creator, the one above, you are teaching your child moral guidance. What does life look like to you? What does it mean? What does it mean to worship the Creator? What you're also teaching them boundaries from right and wrong. You're giving them a moral compass. You're guiding them. You're laying down boundaries, rules, and with the rules come responsibility. You're educating them. You're teaching them. You're guiding them in those areas. So I want to delve more into the provider aspect. So we've just looked at the protector aspect of the father. Now we're going to look at the provider. So as fathers, it is our duty to provide basic needs. So what does that mean? Ensure food, clothing, shelter. These are necessities that a child needs from us. And we have to rise to the occasion and provide those necessities for the child. Then the next thing in line is education. So how much time do you invest in your child's education? And I'm not just talking about finances, I'm talking about time. How much effort do you put into your child? How much guidance do you give them? How much time do you invest in terms of you sit down with them, you have open communication, you teach them, you guide them, you educate them, you empower them, and you impact them in a positive way. This falls on us as a provider, because we have to provide experiences, we have to provide the expertise to enrich our children's development. So we've now looked at the protector, we've now looked at the provider. Now we're going to look at the teacher, the father being a teacher. So what does that look like? This looks like that you are going to teach your children life skills. And that could be things, simple things around the home, DIY, how to change a light bulb, how to put up curtains, how to iron your clothes, how to cook, how to clean, how to tidy up your bed. You're going to give them these skills. Why is it so important? Because these are the basic necessities that every child must know how to look after themselves and how to look after their home. Those are just a few examples. There's more examples in terms of how to do this, how to do that around the home, how to be more DIY savvy. The whole idea is that you're trying to raise them to become independently as much as they can, but also rely on people to a degree. So there's a terminology called interdependence. You're independent to look after yourself, but you also need help by people in specific areas where you lack the knowledge. So I'll give you an example. As a child ages, it becomes more and more independent. It wants to make its own decisions, but it does rely on it. But it does need its parents. So it's not completely independent, but the mother and the father are there to support the child to further develop their growth. This is what I'm talking about. And then through you being a teacher, it's all about helping our children to navigate life, to problem solve, by giving them the guidances, by helping them to overcome challenges, by giving them the tools. So for example, to not react to any single situation, to stay calm, reflect, think, and decide wisely rather than acting on emotion. These are the types of things that I'm talking about. And then we move on to values. What are the values of trust, kindness, honesty, perseverance? And this has to manifest in our actions. How we are the examples, and our child will only copy what we do, not what we say. So we have to emulate what we say into our child. Be it, live it, become it. Become a better father. And then our children will become better themselves. And these are our values as a teacher. And then we move on to traditions. There's family traditions that gets passed down from generation to generation. And as a teacher, we have to educate our child. What is our background? Where we're from? Our customs and our heritage. What is that like? Because you're giving them a sense of identity as well. As a teacher, you're giving them background from where their roots stem from. And that will help a child to feel very secure about his or her identity. So, we've looked at the protector, the provider, and the teacher. Let's move on. Right, so I want to now talk to you guys about the emotional anchor. What is that about? Well, there's three things. Conditional love, not unconditional, but there's conditions to love. There's active listening and emotional intelligence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break things down for you. Hear me out. You do not love your child unconditionally. If it does the wrong, you don't still say, I love you, don't worry about it. No. There has to be boundaries. There's conditions to love. Love goes up and down, and this is what you're going to teach your child. The child has to work on love, work on developing love. It's the same as developing our love for our Creator. We have to put in the work. We have to put in the effort so love can grow. Love is like a seed. You plant it, you put in the work, you feed it, and it turns into a beautiful flower. From a beautiful flower, then turns into a beautiful tree. So love works in the same way, and you're trying to teach your child that love is something that needs to be worked upon. Love is something that can grow, and love can also fade if you don't work upon it. So you're teaching your child how to love. The next thing is active listening. By you demonstrating active listening. What does active listening mean? It means not interrupting them when they're trying to speak to you, especially in a time where they need you and you can see that they're in dire need and they're going through challenges and problems. And if we butt in to what they have to say, they're going to be very disheartened, because they're going to be like, well, you're not understanding where I'm coming from. So active listening means giving them feedback, knowing when to speak and when not to speak, allowing them that space to articulate and communicate their message. This is what we have to do as fathers. The next one is understand emotional intelligence. What does that look like? So if they distort, we don't do the opposite. We don't condescend them. We don't be patronizing or sarcastic towards them when they're trying to open up. We don't even dismiss them. We give them that attention. We stay calm and not react. We listen attentively. We try to sympathize and empathize where our child is coming from. And the way to do that is let them express themselves in terms of speaking. Let them open up to you. Let them know that they can turn to you and they feel safe. This is emotional intelligence. Recognizing what their body language is saying. How they're coming across. What are they sounding like? What do they sound like when they speak to you? Do they sound concerned? Do they sound stressed? Do they sound worried? You have to recognize these signs so you're able to help your child effectively. So the role model now. We're going to move on to becoming a role model. Our aim is to lead by example, by becoming the best we can. If you are wondering why your child is misbehaving or they're being rude, have a look at how you're coming across, because they're more likely mirroring you and your spouse's behavior. So in order to shape your child's destiny, we have to change our actions and our behaviors. And a part of changing our actions and our behaviors is admitting to our mistakes. Secondly, taking accountability and responsibility for how we carry ourselves, conduct ourselves. And the child needs to learn this. Otherwise, it's just going to blame any mishap that happens to him or her in adolescence. It's not going to take accountability. It's not going to learn. It's not going to grow. It's not going to develop. It's just blame and shame. This is what you're teaching it. You're teaching it to become like you. Are you really happy with who you are right now as a father? No, you're not, because that's why you're on this course. You want to change, you want to improve. The same way is our responsibility to improve ourselves so we can have a beautiful family, a beautiful life, lead a beautiful legacy. And this is what improvement is about. The other thing is to be more actively involved in playing games with your child, because through games they engage, they build bonds, and they learn new things. So it's very, very healthy for the relationship. It doesn't matter how small it is, but as long as that you're there and you're doing something together, it's very, very important as a father. You explore, let your child explore things. Encourage it, actually. Encourage them to ask questions. Encourage their curiosity to learn things. Don't shut them down. Don't make them feel stupid. Cultivate their questions and the way that they see things. And also share your own experiences and your own perspectives, because it helps to broaden and the richness. It helps to broaden and bring richness to the relationship. And this is always an evolving journey. It's a lifelong journey. From infant stage to toddler to school age to all of a sudden teenagers, then a fully grown adult. It's a transition to be mindful of. And you're always going to evolve, because each phase requires you to up your education, up your mindfulness, and up your intelligence, so you're able to handle your children justly and correctly and do the best that you can. So it requires constant evolving, constant growth. It's like the example of love that I used. It requires nurturing, because every phase is going to be different. You can't expect to know what you know and be okay with that for future events to happen, because things are always changing. You have to adapt and you always have to upgrade.